Welcome to Arizona Wire Products. The purpose of this video is to provide you with a working knowledge of how to draw the wire we use in our finished wire mesh production. Wire drawing is the art of taking a raw coil of 1/4 inch or 7/32 gauge steel wire and drawing it down to a desired size. The first step in this process is to select the size of raw coil wire you will be drawing. Weigh each raw coil and write down the weight before attaching to the drawing machine. Next, load the raw coil onto the payoff arm. Make sure to cut off all the banding and wire ties. All metal waste is recycled at Arizona Wire, so be sure to dispose properly. Save the information tags that come with each raw coil and churn into your supervisor when done. Inspect the end of the new coil. If it is not smooth and contains fins, cut off the deformed loops of rod. Running rod with fins on it will break the carbide die. Pull the rod through the tangle switch eye. Next, it's time to put the rod into the descaler rollers. Be sure you have plenty of rod to wind around the rollers and go through the guide die for the bull block. Next, you will need to point the rod. To do this, you use the pointing machine. Bend the rod into a Z shape and force it into the rollers, twisting it back and forth to make a point on the rod. You continue doing this until the rod will go into a test die and come out the other side 3 to 4 inches. Stringing up the bull block. Put the pointed rod into the soap box and into the die. The soap box should be filled at least halfway with soap at all times. The purpose of the soap is to lubricate the wire as it passes through the drawing dies. It should stick out enough to be able to grab the rod with the wire puller. Open the jaws to stick the wire in and make sure the jaws are closed around the wire rod. Hook the puller chain on the drawing block and jog the machine to pull about an 18-inch piece through the die. Then, reset the gripper jaws. Jog the block to wrap the wire around about 8 times. Peel off enough wire from the block to do the second block. Clamp the remaining wire to the block using the vice grip hold-down clamps. Stringing up the second bull block. Put the pointed rod into the soap box and into the die. It should stick out enough to be able to grab the rod with the wire puller. Open the jaws to stick the wire in and make sure the jaws are closed around the wire rod. Hook the puller chain on the drawing block and jog the machine to pull about an 18-inch piece through the die. Then reset the gripper jaws. Jog the block to wrap the wire around about 8 times. Clamp the remaining wire to the block using the vice grip to hold down the clamps. Next, jog the block until you have about 18 inches of wire sticking out. Pull the wire through the 2 pulleys and feed the wire to the dead block. Thread the wire into the dead block and point as needed to go into the dead block die. Stringing up the dead block. Insert the wire into the dead block die. Grab the flyer by hand and slam it forward to start the wire firmly into the die. Re-grip the wire on the wire jaws and attempt to run the blocks. As the wire builds up on the dead block, you will need to remove the wire puller while the machine is running. When the banana arm loads up, wear a glove as the wire is very hot and grab the end of the wire. Hold on to it, then lower the arm to let the wire fall on the stand. Take the wire in your hand and wrap it to the bottom of the stand. As the wire is drawn, every 30 minutes, use your micrometer to measure the size of your drawn wire. The micrometer should read between 132 and 135 for 7/32 wire. Once the reading is above 135, it is time to change your die. For 1/4 inch wire, it should read between 188 and 190. Once the drawing process has begun, make sure the speed is running at 1200 feet per minute. Depending on the quality of the rod, you may need to go slower, but 1200 feet per minute is what you should run at. The soap lubricant coating plays a big part on how fast you can run, but do not go too slow, as the drive motors will struggle to pull the wire through the dies. Safety. At Arizona Wire, safety is our first priority. You will be supplied with a hard hat, safety glasses, a respirator mask, and gloves. You are required to wear these items at all times while you are on the production floor. In addition to safety gear, it is especially important to know how to quickly cut off power to the drawing machine in case there is an emergency. Adding additional coils. When you have drawn 50% of your raw coil, it is time to load on another coil. Being careful not to get caught by the wire coming off the payoff arm, find the end of the first working coil and the beginning of the new coil and butt weld together. As the ending coil is close to being finished, loosen the first 10 loops of the new coil to continue the drawing process. If the two coils tangle, turn off the machine. Do not try to separate while running. Drawing wire is an art as well as a science. Every coil of wire rod can and will be different than the last coil. Any number of things can make this happen. When they make the rod at the steel mill, sometimes the blend of ingredients can be a little off. This will cause the drawn wire to have a memory of when it was cast. This will be noticed by short die life or the wire snapping for no apparent reason. Sometimes this cannot be fixed. You will get shiny wire or oval-shaped wire because the die wore out and opened up. When this occurs, shut down and start over. Be sure to use fresh lubricant in both of the soap boxes and change out the bad dies. After you have done this, start to draw the wire again. If the problem reoccurs right away, try to run out the coil of rod and then start over. And if you continue to have problems, ask a supervisor. They are here to help you with any problems you may have.